All right. So first league of the day, I'm gonna be running through some Jun Traverse Shadow with Autumnal Gloom in the sideboard. So Autumnal Gloom's not a card that we can traverse up, but it's a card that does benefit from the Delirium, and we'll kind of go over that when we get to the sideboard. But for the most part, the main deck is pretty straightforward, using Traverse the Elven Wall to increase the density of like our primary good threats in Death Shadow and Tarmogoyf. As you notice, we are not running things like Dragon's Rage Channeler and Ragavan because they do not do a great job of like actually getting your opponent unalive very quickly, which is what this deck's keying in on doing. Like, we've got our Hand Disruption, we've got a little bit of reach with our burn, we've got Battle Rages, a Scourge for matchups where we want to have a big beefy threat, but we don't want to see it all the time because there's going to be plenty of times that we aren't able to lower our opponent's life total aggressively. So Scourge is just something we can like get to as we need it. Crooks not come in. We'll do that while we're waiting. But the rest of the deck, the main deck at least, is like fairly streamlined. It's got a very straightforward plan of just find Death Shadow, find Tarmogoyf, get one of those online. To protect this plan a little bit, we've got 2 copies of Snakeskin Veil in the main, kind of your pseudo Blossoming Defense card, except Snakeskin Veil does put a 1/1 counter on things, which has a few like small applications. For example, being able to win the Tarmogoyf races by outsizing our opponent's Goyf. Uh, Occasionally, you'll have a little bit bigger of a battle rage or something like that. I wouldn't worry too much about the counter. It's just like a potential upside that gives it a little more defensive utility compared to Blossoming Defense, where Blossoming Defense is going to be better if you're like using it and then battle raging right after you use it, like if your opponent tries to interact inside of combat. Snakeskin Veil's a little bit better if you need to like interact with your opponent main phasing something on their turn or interacting outside of combat. You get like some sort of a lasting benefit after it resolves. Um, I'm sure there's like some creature that we could put in with a Snakeskin Veil effect, like ETB, target creature gets hexproof or something. But that might be a little bit too narrow. Either way, we'll see how this goes. Random mosquito. Joy of living in the South. To complete the traverse package, we've got main deck Kroxa, main deck Turok, main deck Scourge, and a main deck Gore Clan Rampager. Might be a little much. The Turok could absolutely be a second Scourge, but kind of wanted to see what it felt like just having it in the main to try out. In the sideboard, we've got some more traverse targets in an additional Turok, a Thrun the Last Troll, Collector Oof, and Endurance. So kind of like our primary hate pieces, Collector Oof against the artifact decks, Endurance against like living in any grave decks, Thrun against anything 4-color or control, any leyline binding decks, stuff like that. 2 Terminate, a Run Afoul, mostly for like Murktide and stuff. Alpine Moon, Ancient Grudge, 2 Chalice of the Void, 2 Engineered Explosives, and this card Autumnal Gloom, which is one that we've played before. It kind of got a backseat while Luris was around, but right now no Luris, so we want to give it a shot. It's a card that's like phenomenal against blue-white control and against the leyline binding decks because it's a on the enchantment side, it's something that's way more difficult for your opponent to interact with. They can't solitude it. They can Teferi bounce it, but the idea is to play it out when you have Delirium and immediately transform it at the end of your turn. And it just becomes a 4/4 with trample and hexproof. So it dodges like bounce effects, it dodges solitude, tramples over small creatures, just allows you to keep pressuring, especially like planeswalkers. So we'll see how it ends up being. It's bigger than subtlety, can't be subtletied. Bigger than solitude, can't be solituded. You're on the bench summer level with this card. Well, Bench is the one that originally came up with the tech. And like I said, it got kind of the back seat during the Luris era, so I wanted to give it a shot again, see what happened. So let's go ahead and jump into our league and check it out. I'm just thinking of ways to fight this 4-color leyline binding meta we found ourselves in. So it's like there if we do need it. Die roll. It's like okay. We've got turn 1 Thoughtseize. We've got some interaction. Got a turn 2 Shadow potentially. It's like a very fair Rakdos hand, right? Let me update Stream Decker while I'm thinking about it. Hammertime. So yeah, let's take the Sigarda's Aid. Next turn, we can drop down the Shadow plus Tarfire, the Ornithopter. Upload Shadow test. Cause 4-color needed more cards. 4-color apparently will never be enough for some of these people. They must have more. Icon, what's up? Glad you're able to make it over. Ornithopter, you say? We could double Tarfire. I believe I'm more interested. So let's start with Bauble. Pay for the Sentinel. See what they're drawing into. Pure Steel Paladin. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and get Shadow down because they can't play Paladin and strap up a hammer next turn. I just really want to find another land. All right, I guess we're going to have to give them a draw here. So let's go Tarfire the Sentinel. Not paying. Thoughtseize you. Interesting. Well, gotta take a hammer for now. What can we do against a second Pure Steel Paladin? They have the ability to get a hammer next turn. They're not playing out a Paladin now. I don't want to buy viewers. Go away. Let's see, so glad I found your channel. I'm new to Shadow and began with Dimir Shadow a few months ago. Pretty inspiring deck list here on your channel. Hope to see some Dimir lists on your stream soon. I'm actually planning on playing my Dimir list after this. like we played Bloodbraid Elf's list yesterday. So today I kind of wanted to play mine, see how they compare. So it's probably going to be like Jun, Traverse, uh, Demir, and then somebody was requesting like an updated Esper league. So we might do that. You got a construct token. Just gonna load the mana. All right, so let's respond to this with Tarfire on the Ornithopter. That way they aren't going to have Metalcraft to equip the Construct token. Opponent, this could be a dangerous proposition for you. So let's, as always, recommend giving our opponent a chance to make a mistake. And the mistake here would be them not blocking. So, see what happens. Cool. I could also bolt myself, but it seems fine. Great news for me. Yesterday's Demir list was a bit too optimistic with just one fatal push. So I actually had a really good conversation with Bloodbraid Elf last night about the deck, and we chatted a little bit about like how it's just all play style for the most part. And I tried to touch on that yesterday as best I could. So hopefully it like came across some. But the idea is just that like when you're running some of these variations, people have their own preferences based on their own play styles. And for Bloodbraid Elf, like the expected meta is more of the mid-range meta, things going a little bit bigger. And so they made card choices based on that, and like I completely respect that. For me, I pretty much choose to not be as vulnerable to Ragavan specifically. So I'm running more fatal pushes than the dismember. Like I want to run one more answer than my opponent has Ragavans. So that more often than not, if they have a Ragavan, percentage wise, I should have an answer. And that's a lot of the reason that I'm on like the 4 push and the 1 dismember. But if you're not expecting a bunch of Ragavans, then I think Bloodbraid Elf's list is great. All right. If your opponent plays 1 Unearth, then you're out of luck. Pretty much, yeah. I drew my fatal push. Kill your Ragavan. Unearth it. All right, game 2. Let's scoop them up. I didn't hold up counterspell for turn 2 Unearth. All right, little Scardazade. I think I'm just gonna pass here. Hold up Bolt and or Tarfire. Ben should be proud of the 1 Gloom. You mean the 2 Glooms? Dos Glumos. This crazy leyline binding meta we find ourselves in. We can't be limited to one strap. All right, so let's shock in. See if we are alive or dead. Yeah, I didn't know there was an old border stone forge either. Those look pretty sick. I guess that's just like a Magic Online promo. All right, so I believe we're just taking the payoff with the Colossus Hammer. Making sure before I make any moves. I know there's Bobble and Ragavan on MTGO. Yeah, the Ragavans look sick. Well, the Ragavans and the Bobbles look sick. And I don't think price-wise they're that much different than the others. Oh, yeah. Not like you to draw the magic cards. All right. Could just EE away the aid and the Shadow Spear. I kind of like Thoughtseize Shadow. Cauldron complete. Okay. Please do not top deck a copy of the card Colossus Hammer. That is not a copy of the card Colossus Hammer. How about this? Sanctifier on Vex. You know what we say to Sanctifier on Vex? We say get prematurely dealt with. Swap my Ragavans to them. They're either the same or not much difference. That makes sense. Like, I'm slowly building my MTGO collection back up. Like, now that prices have kind of dropped back down and settled post MH2 craze. And so once I get around to like Ragavans and stuff, I'll probably be going old borders. All right. What do you have coming off the top? Dead magic card. Cool. So kill off a Sanctifier. Attack him with Shadow. Play another Shadow. Now your Ink Moth Nexus is on Abyss mode. Or no, you're just dead. Never mind. Math is tough. Would you recommend blue-black or red-black Shadow more? If you're expecting a bunch of 4-color Omnath elemental base piles, I would probably go blue-black. If you're expecting more like leyline binding base piles, then I kind of think red-black. Which I know a lot of them like overlap a good bit. But the Battle Rage kills out of Red Black plus access to Blood Moon has been phenomenal. Whereas against the Solitude piles, like, you're pretty vulnerable with Red Black. I think I'm actually going to keep this. one fetch land away from having everything online. I've got turn 1 artifact, creature, and sorcery in the yard. On the draw, like 3 redraws. Say less you around in leagues because of rental limit, but you never know. Yeah, that's fair. And if that's the case, I would lean more towards red black. All right. Do we have a red or fetch land? Never have we ever been punished on this stream. Except for like the 500 million times we've been punished. But other than those, never punished. Monkey D. Luffy. I see a One Piece fan in the chat. Opponents show that they are able to untap Nettle Sentinel. Yeah, this is a great TBR matchup. And we've got the ability to traverse for a payoff. So let's just make sure like we're not dying this turn, and then we can traverse for a shadow next turn and have like TBR after that. So let's take payoff, kill Nettles or Heritage Druid, say go. Now they are going to be able to put just like a decent amount of toughness on board. So we got to be a little bit wary of that. Let's traverse up one of our friendly neighborhood Death Shadows. Play you. And I'm going to go ahead and cycle this Street Wraith. Try to hit another land. If they have Black Source Shaman, I'm dead to it, but it doesn't look like a Black Source to me. Should shock that in. Didn't actually think that would work. Is this Archdruid attack? This is not Archdruid attack. So why are you shocking? What purpose does shocking serve here? 2, 3, 4, 5. Unless they have another chord and they're planning on cording for like a shaman. If the game, yeah, if they've got that, I'm dead anyway. It's definitely a chord. Chord for 2. This for like the new Lord. Let's go ahead and knock you out. All right. What you got? That should be like a clear-cut sign that they don't have Shaman of the Pack in in their list, right? You have a chance to cord for Shaman right there, and you don't. Well, one is not dead. One is in fact not dead. Let's get a exclamation TBR kill and go to sideboarding. All right. We got EEs, we got terminates, and that's about it. Turok looks pretty bad here. Kroxa looks not great. Snakeskin Veils look pretty bad. And yeah, let's roll with it. I'd say you got to play around the TBR kills, but like, who besides us is playing TBR? All right. Throwing this one back. The last hand had like a Wraith and a Bauble, which is what part of the reason we kept it. This one does not. This is better. Keep it and throw back. Might actually just throw back the Blood Crypt. I'll play TBR, so that makes two of us. Yes. Two insane individuals in the modern queues. Out here TBRing our elves opponents down from 17. Elf. Alright. What do we got? Tarmogoyf. Do I want a Tarmogoyf? I do. I guess it's going to be a pretty sizable Goyf with the Tar Fire. So let's go to our opponent's upkeep. Draw Tarmogoyf. Bobble ourselves. Looking for a second land. It's an awkward second land, but it's still a second land. Is this your current red black list that got posted? It's close to it, but I don't think it's exact. Like, I think the only changes I really made to the list. Let's see. I took out the Liliana of the Veil from the board for the third Turok, and took out the, I think it was a Kroxa on the board for another Dothy. And the main deck, don't run Unholy Heat. I'm still keeping with Fatal Push. So, like, 3 Fatal Pushes. A Kroxa in the main. Okay, remove those. Fatal Push. Kroxa. Oh, the last spot was the last Inquisition. I liked this iteration better. Felt a little smoother. Mark of Asylum. So this is Aspiring Spikes Elves. Alright. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get a Swamp and get down Tarmogoyf. Elvish Archdruid. Alright, how about a Shadow off the top? I mean, I guess. I suppose we'll take a Temur Battle Rage. What is the nicest way of saying I don't particularly care about any of these elves? I guess I missed a point of damage by not thought seizing first there. I honestly thought I had a sorcery in the yard at this point. So that's on me. Yeah, we'll start with swinging. See what happens. Cool. Good talk. And I believe that deserves another exclamation TBR kill. Sorry, elves. On to match number 3. So in 4 games so far, we've had 2 TBR kills. People say that TBR is bad. Shh. Get out of here. Nemesis. Ominous gamer tag. What kind of hand do we get against Nemesis? Pretty decent one. Revealed Gigantha, so I would assume this means like a Shadow Mirror. Unless it's Tron. Nope, Shadow Mirror. I want to just take Thoughtseize. So I think I will. If I end up getting to Traverse for Scourge, that could be really, really good in this matchup. Scalding Tarn, go. Go, Power Ragavan. Don't crack the bobble, don't crack the bobble. Good. Shadow off the top would be nice. It's worth a try. All right. I'm going to hope that you don't have a removal spell for the Goyf here. If you do, I take a hit off the Ragavan, but I get to untap, Thought Seize, Traverse for a Shadow, or Dismember, Traverse for a Shadow, play a Shadow. So it's not like end of the world. Existus, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome, awesome Tuesday wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. So Bloodstained Mire is down. Let's go Thought Seize to take. That's a lot of expressive iterations. Am I just taking one of these? I could take the Shadow and grow the Tarmogoyf. I think that might actually be better. Did I decide to go without Ren and 6? Yeah, I decided to go a little more like all in on just killing my opponent. Like, I like Ren and 6 a lot, especially in the slightly more mid-range builds of the deck. But this version is not one of the more mid-range ones. This is definitely more like get Traverse online, aggressively swing at my opponent. Alright, so they're gonna have a Spell Pierce regardless. Let's let them have this hit. Thoughtseize is a little annoying. See if they choose to play it though. They might not. Unholy Heat. So got it. Oh. Take the Traverse. So they've got a Spell Pierce up. They still have double expressive iteration. Did you pick up the new Death Shadows or held on to the signed OGs? I still have the signed OGs. I thought about picking up a set of the new ones, and I might still, but I have not yet. All right. Well, this them hitting the removal spell and the Ledger Shredder back to back kind of got them out of a sticky situation here. But that happens sometimes. So we'll just go to game 2. I've got new board presence. All right. So we got Terminates coming in, Endurance coming in, Run the Last Troll coming in. EEs. We want Autumnal Gloom. Let's see if we got a board out, and then we'll make a decision. Gloom might not be that bad. Just a decent threat that dodges a lot of removal. We'll see what happens. By a lot of removal, I mean like all the removal. Sure. Icon coming in with the tier 1 for 6 months in advance. Very nice. Welcome to the subscribers. Enjoy access to all of our sweet custom Death Shadow emotes. Bam. I'll just pass here. Let's see, Bits. Have you looked at Tolarian Terror? I feel like it could be a decent threat in the Shadow archetypes. I have looked at the card. We played against who was it? I think it might have been Selfie Sec, who was playing like a Grixis Tolarian Terror deck. They weren't running Shadow, but they were running just like a bunch of cool cards in it. And that looked pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and get a Goyf down. But I have thought about the card. It's got like Gurmag-esque qualities to it. So it could very well be a potential one. Fatal Push. Land is a great pickup. Terminate, K command, dress down. Well, dress down, terminate could kill Thrun. If I take the terminate, then they get to EOT, dress down, draw a card, terminate the Goyf, draw a card. So I think I'm just going to take dress down and pass. And if they want to fire off this K command like on their main phase or something, that's fine. Land. It's worth a try. One of the things I've mentioned that I'm not a huge fan of in the Shadow Mirrors is just like fetching and shocking and whatnot for no reason. Like if they had a Shadow, it would be a little different, but since they don't have a Shadow, a lot of this like isn't really serving a purpose. Land. Ha 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 ha. Opponent, prepare for your demise at the hand of Thrun the Last Troll. cannot drown and lock it. You cannot terminate it. He laughs in the face of Colligan's command. Guillermo, what's up? Hydrate, gotcha. My huge, like, Voss water bottle. Please no Lily. They're running Gigantha, so I don't think they're running Lily. But I've been wrong before, so. Minimize this a little bit. Throwing his tier 1 tech, love it. I mean, it's won me a couple games already, which I think is hilarious. Traverse is pretty nice. So let's start by attacking with Thrun. Do I bring it in against 4-color? Yeah. We will traverse the Ulvenwald. Drown and lock. You got it. Say go. And I'm waiting on these lightning bolts. I don't feel like I have to cast them right now. Dead Baby Unicorn. Thank you for the follow and the concerning nightmares. All right, so now let's go for a lightning bolt. Run the last troll. With the traverse there, we were planning on traversing up a Croxa. That would have been a great way to add like an additional hate piece to Thrun. But apparently it was not that necessary. I think I'm a little down on the snakeskin veils, actually. Run afoul could be an answer to Ledger Shredder or Dragon's Rage Channeler. Maybe I want that, but I think I'd rather just have like the Inquisitions. You're welcome, and thank you for the content. Well, you're welcome as well. That's a good mutual exchange there. A bunch of interaction. Some lands, redraw. Let's do it. Opponent thought sees me and see that I am throwing the last trollless. It's a pretty good pickup. So I'm usually very adamant about like not bobbling when you don't need to. This is kind of an exception because I want to fetch and shock on my opponent's upkeep. Or I want to like bolt this Ragavan before it has a chance to attack me. And the best way of doing that and get this filter off the draw is bobbling now, even though it's not so good into hand disruption. But I'm valuing that card selection a little bit more. All right. Third land is also really good. So now we have Hardcast Endurance. Again, not a big fan of like the fetching and shocking real aggressively. Like maybe they have a shadow or two this time and it's a little bit different, but for the most part, it's not my favorite line. let's go Fetch Shock, Terminate. See if they decide to fight over this. Which means now I get to dismember and play a shadow. Say go. They do not currently have Delirium, but they are just like a Croxa. Spicy. Freaky Fingers, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome Tuesday wherever you're at in the world. So we've got two options here. Option number one is discard the Wooded Foothills, which deals 3 to the shadow, or 3 to us. Makes it so we could top deck a fetch land for lethal. Option number two is ditch the Engineered Explosives. I think I'm okay ditching the explosives. Take my land drop. What do we got? Thoughtseize. So that does not present lethal, but it is really, really close. Let me double check my basic situation before I do anything. I'm pretty sure I've got basic swamp or basic mountain and basic forest. But I want to have a look before I fire anything off here. No forest, just swamp and mountain. Okay. So if I want to make sure I can cast Endurance for 1 life instead of 3, I need to Thoughtseize off of this Blood Crypt. Oh boy. I don't need to go. I don't need to shock here. There's no reason to leave myself dead to a like bolt off the top. That does me no good. This is still dead to both of my creatures, or to either one of my creatures. Endurance you. Say go. What you got? 3-0 for the good guys. On to match number 4. Consult Thoughtseize off of Blood Crypt. Right. Friendly fire. I mean, whoops. I'm not going to throw away my match either for friendly fire. So I do not believe they were expecting Thrun the last troll game too. I'm going out on a limb with that assumption, but I'm assuming it was not on their radar. got for round number 4. But I am glad to say that Thrun looked pretty good. I'm always glad when cards like Thrun show up and do something relevant. Baltimore, what's up? Expect some angry comment on YouTube. Eh. It happens, it happens. Alright, let's lead with a bauble. Like, I know that I'm looking for a threat here. So I'm a little more interested in being aggressive with my bauble usage since I'm looking for a specific kind of card. Just take the Tide Shaper. Next turn, Thoughtseize the Silvergill. And doing good today, I see. Well, it hadn't been bad, that's for sure. Silvergill. And let's find a threat. Because I really don't want to have to just like hard cast a Gore Clan Rampager. But at the end of the day, if it's what you got to do to win, it's what you got to do. Atlantis is down. So got 4 cards, and I know about 3 of them. Don't think I need to be too aggressive with my fetches and everything. Punished. The immediate punished. Probably ended up just taking a hit off this Lord to get down Shadow next turn. We're playing Snakeskin Veil to make 13/13 Shadow Dream alive. I wish, but unfortunately we're lame Shadow gamers and we're only playing Snakeskin Veil to help combat the Solitude Menace. Ooh. Second Shadow, don't mind if I do. We are what you would call not very creative gamers. We see Solitudes and Leyline Bindings and immediately think, oh, we need protection spells. Whether that's right or wrong. Can you Otawara your own thing? You can. It's kind of cool. Well, if you would like to. You should have taken me up on my generosity. Subtlety. Oh, man. Oh, man. This is lethal exactly if they don't block. Double check. We lose 1. These become 8/8. That's 16 plus 4 plus 4. Oof. All right. Exclamation GCR kill. Yeah. I gotta change up the text. Oh, it copied and pasted the Battle Rage text. It's supposed to be Gore Clan Rampager on that one. Whoops. I'll get to that in a second. So we want terminates, we want EE. I don't think I want to Collector Oof just for a Aether Vial, but I'll at least have it as like a possibility. Like, there's a lot of cards I don't think are good that might have just like one-off cases. but I think it's important to at least note them. Like Run Afoul could hit a subtlety. It's not great, could hit a subtlety. Endurance is just like a reasonably sized blocker if they don't have an Island Walk Lord and an island. Kind of the same thing with like Autumnal Gloom. They're just like blockers if that's something we're interested in. Scourge is pretty rough against Trickster, but I don't think it's bad enough to the point that like I want to be boarding them out. So it's kind of, do I want anything in here more than like Thoughtseize, Street Wraith? I might try an Autumnal Gloom just as like a 4/4 body. They can't get out of the way. It stands in front of like Sphiolin really well. Croak's also bad. Yeah, but like Croak's is better than this stuff, right? That's part of the issue is we've got a lot of cards that like aren't great, but they're better than the other things we have access to. Curse Catcher. Chalice of the Void on 1. That does in fact deal with the Chalice of the Void on 1. See how long we can wait on this EE blowing up. Like I assume if they put in like a Lord or something. So if I want to kill the Curse Catcher, I would need to respond to this in case they're able to vial in a Lord. I think that's fine, though. I think what I can do instead is blow up this EE. Land. Not land. Seal of Fire, target here. They vial in a Lord. We lightning bolt the Lord. Seal of Fire resolves there. Might be greedy, but so I got something worth protecting. So it very well could be like a Sphiolin here. This is some bench summer kind of shadow deck. I mean, it's got some bench summer influences here and there. Tarfire, Autumnal Gloom, Glor Clan. Well, I mean, we are playing Traverse the Ilvenwald as a 4 of in the main deck, so Tar Fire, Seal of Fire, that kind of stuff is pretty good. But Snakeskin Veil is absolutely control freak tech. Bench free control summer. All of the above. Yes, yes, and yes. You got it. Play the Otawara. Alright, another land is great. Slightly less great. Top. Uh, we do race what's on board pretty well right now. So that's kind of a plus. Lord of Atlantis. You got it. Let's see. Certainly putting together some decent brews these days. Nice to see that. Meanwhile, most GDS players already moved to something else. I mean, we're stubborn. Like all we do more often than not. So is going to 4 any different than going to 1? Or is going to 4 any different from staying at 5? I don't believe so. I'm already dead to like Kira Great Glass Spinner, so opponent. Meet my good friend Snakeskin Veil. Modern staple, patent pending. Slim Shady, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome, awesome Tuesday wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. All right, your top deck versus mine. Survey says dead to another Otawara, dead to another Trickster. Okay, let's get a prediction going. So we go here, and we go to here. And we go to here. Start prediction. Will we get this trophy? Start. All right, 2 minutes. Get your votes in. If you think we're gonna get this trophy here or not, either hell yeah, of course we get it. No, Mike's a scrub. Be right back. Let me buy out snakeskin veils. Looks pretty good in like that one specific situation right there, right? Like Veil of Summer doesn't stop no solitudes or leyline bindings. Let's see, background guy. Grixis doesn't really play like a shadow deck anymore. It's just mid-range grind pile and pretty slow. Nice to see control bringing back the cocaine high of killing with TBR and Gore Clan. So I think that's an avenue that Shadow can kind of exploit right now. Is you do have a lot of decks playing 4 color mana bases, fetching up triomes early, awkward setup cards like Ren and Six, and maybe we are just able to like hit some hand disruption, a big threat, protection spell, attack through. It's worth at least trying, right? Like, hell yeah, Coca-Cola all the way. So one of the things I'm pretty adamant about is I hate the idea of like sacred cow cards. Like, oh no, you build Grixis Shadow like this. You build Jun Shadow like this. Well, at the moment, like nobody's getting results with Grixis Shadow or Jun Shadow or Rakdos or Demir or whatever. Like we'll have the occasional top 8, but for the most part, it's a lot of Grixis like missing top 16s and occasionally 5-0ing leagues. So if people aren't winning, why does that make that the right list? Like, what's the argument there? No scared cows? Bunch of cows mooing in fear in a pasture? Hey, I have played a league, one league with Canister's original build that cut a Death Shadow. And that was like enough for me. That was crossing some lines that I don't think needed to be crossed. Has that been 2 minutes on the prediction? Close enough. Looks like 56% think we're going to win. 44% almost exclusively Kevin say no. I believe in Thrun. Thrun, the last savior of our trophy hopes. I mean, it's been a pretty clean run through league right now, right? Let me update the Gore clan Rampager. Delete GCR kill. Add GCR kill. Count. Killed opponent with Gore Clan Rampager. And let's see if that works. GCR kill. Oh. Oh. GCR kill. Maybe I have to count GCR kill. Alright, we're just gonna have to get rid of a bunch of those Oh, on the draw, Thoughtseize, triple shadow. This is the weirdest deck you've seen in a while. I appreciate it. I think we can do better. But we are on the draw with just like a bunch of shadows. Yeah. Alright. See, Rich, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome Tuesday wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. So our Nemesis Murktide for the 5-0, eh? A Death Shadow off the top. Second land I'm pretty interested in. So let's take that. Blood Crypt. And I think we're just going to go ahead and Tarfire this. Look at that. Turn 1, 5 card types in the graveyard. Can I get my points back? No, no. They're gone forever. You chose violence. 4-0 with one of my favorite cards of all time. Gore Claim Rampager is enough for a follow. I appreciate it. Gore Claim Rampager is, in fact, a sweet one. If we can find an instant or a sorcery, we can grow Tarmogoyf past Unholy Heat range. But we really need our opponent to have a light turn here. Like, theoretically, bolting us would be fantastic. But if we're not presenting, like, a really good clock following that bolt, it could be very counterproductive. Foaming at the mouth at the prospect of a 2.29 payout, my 20K investment. I see the stock market has gotten its hold on you. All right. Attack with that one. It appears it's going to come down to whether or not they just have like an Archmage's Charm. Or no, this is Murktide. Okay. TBR off the top one time. TBR, 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 TBR. Gore Clan Rampager also does it if they don't have a Lightning Bolt. Reverse the Ulvenwald does it. Dismember depends on if they have a Spell Pierce. Survey says. All right. No. They do have to block a shadow, though, which I guess is something. Does going down to 1 matter? Well, there's no reason to. I don't have a basic forest in this list. So, take 10. I hope you can't get Delirium again. No. Damn it. And flipping over the land there. always the annoying side of just like one unchecked Dragon's Rage channeler just runs away with games. Terminate endurance, run afoul. He's okay. Run could be one that we just like top deck and kill them. I think that's about all I want. Just trim some stuff. I really want to get to Scourge. Scourge is like all-star in this matchup. But Murktide is just like my absolute nemesis. Every league I play, it seems. I'll look at a hand like this and say, okay, this is decent. Like, I've got interaction, I've got redraws, my opponent's on a mulligan. But then they just hit that first Unholy Heat, and you're like, cool. Do not really want a Snakeskin Veil here. I'd rather be able to get a basic Swamp, but we're just going to get a Blood Crypt and Thoughtseize. I guess we can cycle Street Wraith and Thoughtseize. Like this. This should not be a good hand, right? Consider Unholy Heat, Bolt, one land. Shouldn't be a good hand, but like somehow I just feel it's going to turn into one. Like Consider's going to flip over Delirium. Now Unholy Heat kills Tarmogoyf. And all of a sudden, like our good start just looks abysmal. And they found the second land. Now they've got Expressive Iteration next turn. We start flooding out a bit. Something. Tale as old as time. Like, I'm not crazy, right? They're one land hand. Endurance would be nice. Like, I can't traverse for an endurance. I can traverse for an endurance, but I can't play it here. Played Mill for around 6 months. Murktide was my absolute nemesis with Mill. I can see that. Deck's just super consistent. It is. And it seems like every time I play against Murktide, they get rewarded for just like absurdly greedy keeps. Like, hey, here's my one land hand. Nothing else going on, and it's just going to get there. See, Frank Booth, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome Tuesday wherever you're at in the world. Is there a particular Gruul creature that could be worth trying? Not really one off the top of my head. There's Unholy Heat. Like, Unholy Heat is such a big issue here because it just kills everything for 1 mana. And that's an absolute nightmare for us. Blood Rush only applies to attacking creatures. Can't Blood Rush a guy just to give it +4/+4. Target attacking creature. All right. I feel like I have to hold on to this Gore Clan Rampager. Like, I know Shadow's dead to an Unholy Heat. It's dead to my opponent having an Archmage's Charm. Well, I want to hold this in case I draw a fetch land next turn. I'm presenting lethal with the Shadow. Ironically, if they didn't have the EE, this would have also been lethal. But it just feels like against this deck, they always have the interaction. Like, my opponent's drawing up to 4 cards here because every draw step has just been like something live. If I could find Thrun or Endurance or something, I'd feel like I had a choice or had a chance here. Like, how about a Thrun off the top? Just for the heck of it. It's not quite a Thrun off the top. We get a little bit of a bailout here. Just because opponent's got like a lightning. I'm guessing they've got 2 lightning bolts in hand and are just trying to find a way to kill me with those. That is my assumption here. This is going to get dicey. So, as predicted, there's the lightning bolt. The Doubter, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome, awesome Tuesday wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. Yeah, so I have to let the Ledger Shredder trigger resolve so that if they go to crew, I could interact. And now it looks like we're actually going to steal this one somehow. Oh, baby. Because I wanted to be able to, if they crew, dismember the hearse, lose 5 power there, hit me for 3, put me down to 1, and I'm not dead. Die, you stupid bird, die. All right, game 3. What can we do to possibly not put ourselves in a position to die to a rollout like that? Battle Rage comes out. Inquisition comes in. Like, Autumnal Gloom looks really good without Hearse. The problem is, if they have Hearse, Autumnal Gloom is horrific. So I could lean more into, like, bringing in EE, Autumnal Gloom, and try to fight the Hearses. Croaks is not great until Autumnal Gloom. Or not Autumnal Gloom, Hearse. We'll see what happens. Alright, all the marbles. All the proverbial marbles. Kept their hand. I think I'm going to keep my hand. I've got a Traverse as early as turn 2. Channeler Bauble. Okay. Channeler Bauble, throw away the Hearse. That has to mean 1 lander. Nothing else that can possibly mean. So I want to Inquisition here. Oh. Good call. Good call on the second Hearse. I just feel like that's a pretty important card, and I probably wouldn't just, like, throw it away. Just blind casting EE on 2. Okay. So I believe I'm gonna bolt and traverse for a Scourge. I mean, I guess I could Thoughtseize Shadow. Could traverse for an endurance. Maybe endurance is the right play. I want to save the dismember because it takes out a Murktide. Yeah, let's set up for a little bit of a longer game. It's like maybe this forces them to just play out a Murktide if they found one, and I get to dismember that and play a Shadow. Let's get Overgrown Tomb, play Endurance. So one of their blind draws was a counter spell. Two blind draws, counter spell, and monkey to dash. That would have been a fantastic draw for us. All right, so let's Thought Seize. Take the monkey, play a Shadow. With no hearses left, Grixis would have also been a reasonable option. Yeah, Grixis could have been okay, but I think anything between Endurance, Grixis, Scourge would have done like the desired effect. I'm really just hoping my opponent will like aggressively crack this EE. And not have a counter spell to back it up. Okay. All right. This is where things get dicey. Channeler, sure. Ugh. Beat Lantern control with their own cards. Gotta love Ragavan. Nice. Petty Theft, my Shadow. And they kept whatever it was on top. if this is a Murktide on top, just another expressive iteration. Nervous for you right now. I'm nervous for myself right now. I wonder if I have to just hard cast this Dismember on this Channeler. I would lose to Counterspell. Counterspell plus Bolt. No surprise there. Yeah, if they were at one less life, then I could force a chump. Dead to Counterspell plus Bolt. What does opponent have? Counterspell plus Bolt. Exactly. Story of our Magic careers sometimes. All right, let's pay out Kevin. Oh. Their opening hand was terrible, but like, I'm telling you, that's my experience or my misfortune against Murktide is I talk to so many people who play Shadow, like Grixis Shadow, and say the matchup's good for them. And I just never see that. Like, every game I play against Murktide ends up being something like that, where it's just, oh, I started hitting unholy heats on turn 2, never stopped, got Delirium online right away, and then just like iteration into iteration into iteration. Never flood out, never. It's just kind of the way it goes. But what do we think of the list? Like, I thought the deck performed very well. The Turok in the main could very well be something else, like another piece of spot removal. Terminate. If you're concerned about Murktide, like I should be, apparently. Uh, but otherwise, like, the deck ran smoothly. I felt like we had good interaction when we wanted it, except against Murktide. Our threats were pretty consistent. Traverse was always live. Gore Clan looked reasonable. So I'm not too upset with the list. I've always considered playing like a one-of Shriek Maul just to be able to traverse up a removal spell for anything. But I wouldn't call that a necessary point by any means. Thrun looked good out of the board. Endurance was fine. A lot of the other stuff, like we didn't see any Chalice of the Void matchups. I don't think we brought in Alpine. No, we brought in Alpine Moon against Hammertime. But all in all, not a whole lot to say.